And I have people coming into the clinic now just for Magna Wave. We've done enough around our area. We go into the nutritional places and meet people and show what the Magna Wave is all about. We have a really big web presence. We've done a lot of what we call digital assets as far as building up the business using that information, so when people are looking for us, they find us. And the guys talking about social media and stuff, you'll learn more about stuff like that too from them. So you're here, you have a problem. How far can you drop that wrist before it hurts? Just go to where it starts to hurt. Right there, so you go horizontal. So you should be able to drop it at least 25, 30 degrees without pain. So one of the things you should have in your kits as well is a goniometer, or a thing that measures range of motion. And it's basically a stick with a couple of nipples. And that's the other point, is you always compare sides. So if they've got a problem on one side, you look at the twin or the match and see what it can do over there. Because if it hurts the exact same amount, then there's another issue you can take a look at. But if it's unilateral, just one side, always compare the good side to the bad side so you can at least see what the measurements are like. But that one's probably hurting too.
Right there hurts.
So it hasn't gotten as bad as the other one because it's not getting took on as much. So what I want to do is treat the area for 5 minutes, and then we're going to have her do that test again and see if there's been any change. And then we'll adjust treatment accordingly. And I have a couple of options. Like I said, I can wrap it around the wrist. I can hold it right over the area and move it around. I can hold it there and have her remove her wrist. There's lots of different ways to try it. Go with what you think. You know, it's kind of that gut thing. But if you can imagine this having a concentrated area, and you want to get that over the area that you want to free up the most. And again, having a muscle chart in front of you and looking at muscles gives you an idea, but you can also just stick your finger on the area and have them move it. So, you know, put your own finger on your wrist and move the other one up and down. And you can feel that tendon move, but go even higher, and then you can feel where the muscle belly of that muscle is. And so we're going to be going all the way up there too. This type of tendonitis is very similar to a shin splint.
I get those pretty often too.
You're gonna have fun with this.
We're going to be here all night.
So would you just stick her arm inside the loop and it work all the way around?
You can do that too. Depends on how you want to do it, because now you want to stick it right in the oven and have it be surrounded all the way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my turn. Or you can turn it and focus it and move it up and down this way. So you can try different variances based on what you want to do. I'm going to try it this way, just so I can get it right over that muscle that's causing the tendonitis.
Dr. Dreessen, she appears very young, and I mean that with the utmost respect and as a compliment.
I am very young.
Why all these issues? That would be like a concern of mine. Hon, why do you have all these issues?
Right, so I'd already done a brief history when we're having lunch, but why don't you tell them a little bit about what you do?
I've been showing horses since I was like a little kid, riding and whatnot. And that gave me lower back problems alone. But then about 5 years ago, I came into showing draft horses. And when you're driving, it's just constant pulling on your arm, because most draft horses do pull pretty hard on your arm, and they're driving up the bit a lot of the time. That it's just constant pressure pulling on everything, your entire arm. And so eventually I started to have all these problems in my shoulder that moved down to my wrist, and so on and so forth.
Right. And so during when I was talking to her main problems are shoulder. But now she's changed everything, and she's using her forearm more because of what's going on in the shoulder. So now it's developing wrist issues. So she's got a secondary problem from a primary. So in my realm, I'd be treating all of it. But because this is the hottest item on her right now as far as what's painful, and it's brand new, I'm going to see if we can reduce this for her. And the fact that she's never used this before, she can kind of get that, what I call the aha moment. And that's what we're all going for. And somebody who's never had Magna Wave before is to give them that aha moment where they go, okay, is that placebo? And that's why we do, the test before and after the measurement, so we have that objective data along with it. Yes.
You said you had shin splints too. When did those start? When you were driving?
Actually, I noticed it, I don't know if it was necessarily from driving, but I almost noticed it.
Bracing on the
before-
footboard maybe?
No, when we were on walking on concrete all day.
And that's another thing is you're gonna, in the sports arena, we're gonna find that too. People who wake up at 42 and they go, oh my God, I gotta do something about my health. So they go on the track and they run them. Well, when the foot lands and it slaps, it's that tibialis anterior that lands hard, and that's when the muscle literally starts to rip away from the bone, and that's what causes shin splints. So when you're walking on hard ground, it's the same thing. If you don't have something that's going to absorb the shock and allow a soft landing, and walking on a hard floor all day long, if you don't have proper shoes, proper arch, all this stuff going on, you're going to get those issues. So now I'm going to walk her through this. First time in the clinic, we're about ready to do Magna Wave. So what I'd like to try is a product called Magna Wave. It's a PEMF. It's a pulsed electromagnetic frequency.
What is that?
It's not electrical. It's a magnetic. So it doesn't shock you. In fact, it doesn't even have to touch you. A lot of things if you've ever had any kind of physical therapy, they have to put goop on you and then stick something to it. And then it's an electrical shock, and that's what the shock is doing. But it only stays on the surface of the skin. It doesn't penetrate. This is going to go all the way through your arm as far as the frequency that's going through there. So we're going to get all kinds of stuff going. You're going to feel it. We're going to go from a light tingle to where you feel the muscles pulsate. We'll be able to find the frequency that works best for you. It's not going to be painful and cause pain. We just want to get in there and try and get rid of inflammation. So what I want to do before we treat your arms, I'm just going to set it on your leg, and I'm going to turn up the frequency. In fact, I'm going to have you scoot back so I can. She's got her. Yep, we're going to go through that too. Good job.
Yeah, really, I didn't even notice that.
So the other thing is we want to make sure you don't have any electronics on you. So do you have any hearing aids? Do you have a pacemaker? Do you have a key fob? The little thing that turns on and off. And then the other thing that happened to me, I was treating a woman with a big loop around her shoulders, and I'm going to tell everybody else if you heard this story, but I didn't know whether to be in shock or horror or just amazed. But she had a gold necklace on, and her necklace was arcing like Tesla coil.
Yes.
These little blue beams were coming out of her necklace.
Corrected my-
No, you do fine.
Okay.
She had a gold necklace on, and I didn't even realize that. And I just stood there and I was watching it, and it was like, do I not do this or just sit here and watch? Because it was such an amazing thing. Every time it was like click, there was a little arc coming off her necklace, and so I stopped the machine, had her take it off. But it was one of the things you don't think about. So, gold necklaces, bracelets, anklets. those
Copper
are the things.
necklaces do it too.
Right. So
Except they
I-
make like the pop, pop noise. I've had that happen.
So anything that's a high conductive metal.
That was entertaining.
Yeah. So if you don't know that's going to happen and you see it, it's like I said, it's gone. So that's the other thing to throw in there, and I didn't put that in the original protocols on the human side as far as the lesson because I hadn't come across that. So
So should I take off my rings?
nope, rings are fine.
Should you ask if they're pregnant too, right?
Pardon?
Should you ask if they're pregnant?
Sure, hope not.
That's a good question.
What if you have somebody with metal in their body, like screws or?
Right. So that's not a problem.
It's good.
It's gonna.
I got it.
It's gonna heat up a little bit.
And you're fine, you're not barking, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So
It feels a little funny.
yeah.
Like at the, because I got a steel rod in my femur, at the ends, you can feel it.
Yeah. But there's no contraindication for that. So as far as the pregnancy side, we're going to be treating an arm. It's not over the abdomen. It's going to be a lighter. We're not going to be pulsating anywhere near the uterus. So in this case, we're fine. Yeah. And again, there's nothing out there yet that says contraindication treating somebody who's pregnant. If I had somebody who was pregnant, no matter what stage they were on, it would definitely have to be what area. I wouldn't be treating low back. I would use caution just because it's never happened doesn't mean that it can't. But if I was treating a shoulder or a neck and they were like in a car accident or something, I want to get that inflammation out of there. I would keep it up here. I wouldn't move it down and keep it on low intensity so I could get some inflammation out.
But once again, with that, couldn't you either use the Lovett Brothers theory to address an issue in the low back or foot reflexology?
So
Possibly.
explain that to everybody what that would be.
The reflexology or the Lovett Brothers?
Both.
The Lovett Brothers theory is a theory that each vertebra correlates with another vertebra. So I believe it's C1 with S5, C2 with S4. And so if you have a horse that you can't, well, okay, for me, the horses. If you have a horse that you can't get to his pole because it's so painful and he won't let you, then you can work on his sacrum and have the pole release, is the Lovett Brothers theory. And you can look it up. There's the diagram on the human as well. And so that would be what I would think of to address something like on somebody who's pregnant.
So if they had a low back problem at S1, then you'd treat the corresponding,
The vertebra that
cervical.
correlates to.
And then also with reflexology on the foot, you treat the spot on the foot that goes to where the pain is.
Right, your
With the-
spine
With
is
the
the-
arch being the spine or if you're treating an organ.
Right.
Yeah, and again, I think out of everybody here that would be great for you to do and to log because nobody's ever done that I know. So having you, because you have that knowledge, I don't do it in practice, because I'm treating other things and this is more ancillary for me.
Right.
But for you to go in and see what that's like, and again, I don't know how scientific you want to go, double-blind study, peer-reviewed, or, person has this problem, I tried it on them twice, nothing happened, and then I went to the area and treated it, and they feel better, kind of do whatever it is that you need to do to prove or disprove it. And I think that would be great information for everybody to have. Yeah, and my answer is I don't know, so I haven't done it. So what I'm going to do is turn this on. It's going to make a clicking sound. So as I turn it up, it gets louder. That also means it's producing more. And I don't know if you can feel anything if you just put your hand on it. Probably feel the coil move, but I don't know if you can feel anything.
No, I just feel the coil.
Okay. So now I'm going to put this over your leg, and it's going to cause the muscle of your leg to move a little bit. And if it doesn't, I'm going to put some pressure on, okay? So, and then you just stay stop if you want me to stop, okay? You're in control. Can you feel that at all? Can you feel it in the muscle?
Yeah.
Okay. Now on a horse,
Really nice, actually.
feels nice? There we go. On a horse, sometimes you don't even have to touch them in the muscle, because the way the muscle physiology is, it'll actually cause it to move, if you've seen any of the videos. So that's what's going on. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it over the area, and then kind of go up and down on that. I'm going to turn this up a little bit more.
After I did that test, my wrist actually kind of started bothering me after I did it a few times.
The Finkelstein test?
Yeah.
Because you're pulling apart.
Then you're kind of irritating it almost.
Yep. So now I want you to turn towards me a little bit. And then just put your hand just like that on your leg, and then bring it up so it's sticking over. There you go.
You're on the line there for that pad, sitting on it with the chair.
Yeah, chair.
Don't want to crush that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I couldn't see that.
Yeah, because she weighs so much.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna go right across, I'm gonna bend it a little bit. You feel it in there? Okay, now, where you feel it is gonna be based on where this is. Like if I move it here, it changes it. If I move it up here, it changes it a little bit. You feel it's in a different area? So now what I want you to do is to move your arm so that you feel it in the area of that thumb where it hurt when you bend it down. Feel it in there now? So now she's just adjusting it so she can feel it, which is the awesome thing about humans. You can tell them what to do and they'll do it.
No.
Okay. Is that too much?
No, it's not.
So we're going to do this for 5 minutes. But after about 2 minutes, I'm going to have her start moving her hand up and down in the without tucking your thumb in though. Try and get a little more movement in that tendon while it's going through. And while she's doing this, are there any questions? Is it making sense? Yes.
I've made a post on the practitioner site before. This is about like implants. We did a person that has plate in his neck, and he became sore, which I told him will happen, especially if you're not moving those muscles a lot. Well, he ended up going to his chiropractor and was really sore. They did an MRI and it showed inflammation around the site, and that chiropractor said that it was the Magna Wave fault. And so if I could I have your number and have you contact that one?
And you tell him he's a liar, not her.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I'm gonna go there, but then I was like, no, I can't say that.
Machine up online and at the max was that we shouldn't have done that to man.
He posted? The chiropractor posted?
No, he didn't. He told,
Oh, okay.
he told our person that,
Right.
that it was us, and then he's going around saying that,
Yeah, I would
don't
love, I'll talk to you about that later so I can get the whole side of the story from you. Then I can call them and find out what they interpreted that as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
He actually looked up the Magna Wave Max.
Yeah,
That's
which
the
is our
machine, and that it said that it was contraindicated to use that machine on somebody that has pins and loads.
And I said, there's no information that
Well,
says
that's
that.
Cite your source, that's the 3 words that I use.
Exactly.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but,
right.
and of course, they're gonna believe their chiropractor over us, so.
More intense every time that you push down here.
Right.
Put more pressure down on it.
I go like that is less intense.
Like I barely almost
Yeah,
barely feel
so
it.
I'm taking my fingers underneath and like pushing your wrist as I bend it around, which,
Like very,
as you,
really feel it.
as you know, intensifies the
Like
treatment.
that a little bit, then I feel it even more.
Good. So now, let's see, we have to back this off a little bit like this. Now have you bend your wrist up and down. Yeah, there you go. So now I want you to hold it. Go ahead and stick your thumb in and let's just see if that changes anything for you. If there's, now you're able to drop it a little bit.
All I feel is a pulling, I don't feel actual pain.
So had we measured it, I mean, she was at horizontal.
Right.
And then now she's able to drop about 15 degrees.
That's unreal.
And
Right.
It's more, I just feel like kind of a pull coming from here, whereas before I got like a really sharp pain.
So you know it's placebo.
She just
What? So now you felt it firsthand. So now we've actually got a change in that. So now let's, I'm gonna have you spin and face over, and I'll put this over your shoulder. We'll work on that if that's okay. So now,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
If I were to treat somebody with fibromyalgia and she's got sore knees quite a bit, would it help to get her to move her knees a little bit?
So when I treat patients with fibromyalgia, I can only treat them on the times where they're at their lowest inflammatory because their response to an adjustment, if they're already inflamed, then they really super inflame. So using that as a model when you're treating somebody with fibromyalgia, regardless of where they are in their cycle, the answer is yes, but it's always very low because they're still getting benefit. What you don't want is that spasm going on if they're inflamed, just because they might over-respond to it. Down the road, if they've used it for a while, then you can start ramping them up to that point, but not as a first treatment.
Yeah, I can speak to that on a personal level. Like, I have really bad upper back and shoulder issues, and when I first got my machine, I was like, oh yeah, and it actually made me worse. And so I just turned way down and I treat every day or sometimes twice a day, and I'm actually better. But if I over-treat, I'm actually worse.
Yep.
It sends it too much of a spasm.
Okay, so now we have the option of me holding it back here, her reaching up, holding it back there, or splitting it and going over the shoulder. So if she has like a biceps tendonitis, which runs right up through here, I don't know if that's a tender spot on you. Let's find out. Is that her right there? Okay, so let's roll it. So just knowing the system of the shoulder, the whole shoulder girdle, I mean, it's an amazing, like I said, it's an amazing system how that shoulder works. And one of the things that happens about the shoulder is a two-function joint. So it'll rotate, and then it'll drop, and then it'll rotate some more. And it is just like your hand. There's the greater tuberosity, and it sits on a cup. And as it goes up, if that shoulder doesn't drop, it's going to lock. It's not going to move anywhere. That's when you get somebody that does this, and they lift their body. I ask them how high they can raise their arm. They go, I can go this high. They're leaning. It's because it's stuck. So if you can drop it, and then it can go up the rest of the way. Well, some of the times, these muscles across here, the deltoids, and then you've got the supraspinatus and infraspinatus, part of the sits muscles, the rotator cuff muscles. It's going to hold it up and lock it into place. So if you can get those to relax, it can drop enough so that it'll go up.
On that, every chiropractor or anyone that looks at me in general always says my right shoulder sits higher. And not even like posture-wise or anything, it just, like I don't know, my scapula, everyone always tells me that my shoulder sits higher.
And it could be, there's a couple of things. It could be that the muscles are tight, so it's lifted. They stopped allowing Little League kids to pitch full games because their right side got built up more than their left side. So they created these, one-sided monsters that were just huge and created a scoliosis in the spine, and their muscles got all big. And so I don't know with you if you've had a lifetime of just right hand only or right hand main.
I guess
for everything.
It always kind of seems like when I drive a pair of horses, for whatever reason, the right hand horse is always pulling harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always kind of wishing that the horse that is pulling harder is in my left arm because it doesn't cause any pain.
Right.
But then it always just so happens to work out that they're pulling harder on my right side.
So as a clinician, and you guys have got this figured out too. Like I said, the only difference is that I sat through 8 years of, 40 hours a week and took tests, but you guys have this knowledge too and use it. But she could be imbalanced. She can have a right side that's stronger than the left and is creating an imbalance. So not only would you treat the side, it could be inflamed and swollen, or it could be overused and bigger, but then also make suggestions on that they work out the non-dominant side and say, hey, have you ever thought about doing exercises with the left side? And if they go no, then you can do a couple of things. You can say, well, you can go online and look, or you can say, are you seeing a chiropractor? And if they say yes, you can say, go to them and ask them what kind of exercises you can do on your non-dominant shoulder if they think that you need that. So then that'll tie you into their chiropractor and possibly get you to a lead. Or you can say, are you seeing anybody, a physical therapist or a chiropractor, and point them towards somebody that you work with. If you can feed a chiropractor patients that need help, then you're building a relationship that way too. But the main thing is you're giving the person sitting here knowledge that you know what's going on, and that's one of the key things. Versus showing up going, I don't know what this does, let's just turn it on and see what happens. There's a lot of confidence right there,
But I will say, actually, since I've been having all these problems on my right side, and then especially when it went down to my wrist, I actually did start strengthening my left side.
So you did it naturally too?
Yeah.
Right, and it makes sense, and the person's going to agree with you because it's like, oh yeah, well that would make sense. I would want to strengthen the non-dominant side because this side's getting more. And what can happen is you can start pulling the spine over to the strong side too, and you can create a little curve in the spine because of what's going on, or just the muscles on the back can get stronger and kind of pull the ribs up a little bit. So there's all kinds of weird things that can go on a uni-dominant side sport. Somebody that does it for a living.
What arm do you carry your purse on?
I don't really care. I have one here, but
that can make a difference too.
Other than that, I never carry a purse.
Yeah, we have a scale at the clinic just for purses.
Yeah, I bet that's amazing that when people find out how much.
It shocks them.
Yeah.
It's like you've got a small arsenal in here.
Are you driving a team of horses? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so the right horse is the lead horse. So that horse is always leading the left horse, so thus your additional riding impairment.
Yeah, so the job is the situation based on what that is all about too.
I have to disagree with that.
You do?
Yeah.
Sit on the other side too. Okay, so we're going to start small again. And what I'm going to do is start without hooking it over the shoulder. And I'm going to start on the back end. Do you feel anything? Let me know when you start feeling that. And everybody knows, you want to move it where it needs to be? Oh, the intensity. Once somebody's done it a couple of times in our clinic, they just show up, grab a clipboard, go back to the bay, turn it on, and treat themselves. I walk them through how to do all of that, which makes it a lot easier for everybody involved. They can get started. They don't have to wait for me to be there. I tell them all the things that they need to know. We've got it printed out. Make sure you don't have any of this. We've got a tray down below that they can set all their stuff in, and they can set the dial for the timer and hit the go button, and they know not to pull the cords out. I don't even tell them that they can pull them out. So, because that's the one thing you don't ever want to do is yank the cord when it's on. And so I feel like if I tell them if I don't even tell them that that's possible, it'll never happen. Because it'll just make this machine arm. So.
I can feel it going down lower.
But I went to people and I said, this is what I do. And if you want to back them up, understand something, at Churchill, they just took me around and told me where to walk, where not to walk, who to talk to, who not to talk to, and that kind of stuff. But I had some jumper trainers, lost my train of thought where the hell I was going. What were we talking about? Saddle. When I learned that the weight of the rider, the strength of their legs, the angle of how they're sitting on the saddle, and I'd sit on the fence and we'd be sitting there and this trainer would be watching this horse go around shooting this stuff out. And I'm thinking, what the hell are they talking about? That horse looks fine, but then you start learning this person doesn't have the strength in legs is incredible when you're talking about performance horses, how you're going to guide the horse, saddle fit is incredible. I can't fix saddle fit. Are you going to treat my horse one time and it's better?
You'll put the saddle
Replace
back on?
the saddle, get different shoes, then maybe you'll get a longer result.
I have another question. I've got one gelding that when I treat him up over his withers and his shoulders, he's real muscular in his shoulders. And basically, he's fit, he doesn't show a lot of problems, and I can treat him, he loves it. But when I finish, for about 2 minutes, those muscles will sit there doing this. Even with no Magna Wave or anything on him.
It's not unusual for that to happen once in a while. It's an anomaly. It doesn't happen all the time.
He does every time.
But you can trace that back, and I'm going to ask Doc, maybe he might add to this. But you can trace that back in a lot of cases to electrolyte imbalance or shortage or a nutritional shortage or something like that. That's allowing their muscle magnesium. If they got plenty of magnesium, that's not going to happen.
And he's on magnesium supplements.
But I can't address that. But when you put the whole nutritional package together, electrolytes, magnesium, hydration, all that kind of stuff can have some reflection on the moisture content in the muscles and how they respond to this stimulation. And they may continue after you treat, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Unless his eyes are screwed. If he's sitting back there doing this and he's like this, then there's something going
relaxed.
on. So I wouldn't worry about it.
It's the only horse I've ever had to do that.
I've never worried about it.
Yeah.
And it's never been an issue. Okay?
Because I didn't know if it was like from lots of water. He consumes a lot of water. He's a good drinker.
I'd look at his electrolytes. And I don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
You look at his what?
Electrolytes.
Oh, electrolyte.
Gatorade.
Just because you're consuming a lot of water doesn't mean you're consuming quality water either. If your water has a lot of fluoride or chlorine in it, that can affect your body as well.
There could be something else going on, like Cushing's or something like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any issues in the horse, and we do it just as a regular maintenance. He's healthy, he strides good, he runs good, he's happy, he doesn't have any issues, but he just always does it right there.
I wouldn't worry about it.
So,
you might explain that to your vet a little bit, and your vet might be able to go further down the road as to what could be causing it in that area, but that's not my game.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody thinking that I'm trying to practice medicine.
Yeah.
So what do you use the paddle for mostly?
The difference in the paddle, and as I explained this to the previous group, the machines are this machine, and the puts out what, just for conversation's sake, about 2 Tesla, which would be 20,000 gauss. This machine is designed to do that. The Pulse Pro machine is designed to be around 17,000 gauss, close enough that there's basically not a lot of difference in what's happening between the two. This will take that 20,000 gauss and turn it into about 38,000 gauss. Why? Because of the way it's wound. It's wound like a watch spring. So it comes out of this like a spotlight. You know, the police have, or the boat lights, you know, those kind of things. That's how it's coming out. So what we're going to get is a much finer penetration into the area like this, not like a fountain. All right? So it's just a manner of delivering the energy. I've had people that have come in, I've had some vets that have come in, and they use it, and they love it, and that's all they use.
That would be best for pinpointing.
It's excellent for pinpointing.
Pulling out an abscess.
Pulling out an abscess or something like that. Are we going? Keep coming. A little more. That's good. So it's really just like the other coils, except we are getting a little more, and you can get a little more pinpoint what you're looking for. If you want to trace something, you want to see where it's going.
So it's pretty much the bigger the attachment, the bigger area you're treating.
The bigger area you're treating. That's why the Wave wings put out less, just for numbers' sake, the Wave wings that we had on the Max or the Maya, maybe we're putting out 7,000 gauss. All right, but it looked like we were moving everything because the amount of tissue we're stimulating. Here we're stimulating a very small area of tissue, so you can turn it up higher.
Yeah.
All right. You can also use it to find sensitivity a little easier. I mean, it's amazing. You got it here and it goes away.
I'm really hard now.
I'm getting more right here than I'm getting over here. I'm getting some over here. So this can find it, work the area a little easier. The paddle is very effective if you want it. You know, some horses will let you wrap the hock and some won't. You can just put it right here, turned up a little bit. Keep going.
When I'm treating my horse's hops with the butterfly, he always tells me when 4 minutes is almost up.
Right. Okay. So, you know, we're putting a lot of energy right now into that hock, and he could care less.
Yeah.
How's his eye?
He's licking and chewing.
And he's licking and chewing. Not even touching it. Now I could touch it, and he's going to get more intensity.
Right.
Right. See, now he's thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't want him, when I treat hocks, I don't want him thinking about it. I just want to get the energy in there to do the job. All right. So if I'm doing an aspirin point, I can come right here and treat his aspirin point to give him some relief like an aspirin. And so I'm coming out of this like this. So I'm treating the top of the hock, and I'm coming all down through here.